Hey there, happy to be here with you. And if you're watching this early, if you've just jumped on, there's one or two things that's happening. Either you're Beverly Haggis from Borden, Indiana, who's always on first, or you're watching the replay. So thanks for watching the replay. As always, this is your weather show, your weather conversation, your weather family here in Southern Indiana and beyond, of course. So a lot of times we'll take a look at the weather nationwide. And while our weather has been very quiet and dry, and speaking of dry, we've got an update with the drought monitor, the drought status. We actually have a lot to talk about here for today, as we are going to have some weather changes next week and some reinforcing shots of the fall-like conditions across the area. So as always, in the Ohio Valley, no shortage of things to talk about. Thanks for watching on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, and perhaps on Extol Weather on Facebook. Extol Media on YouTube. Thanks for liking or subscribing there, or heading over to extolmag.com/weather, where we have our live stream and more weather content for you. And we, as always, we'll take a look at the current conditions, which is really nice out there. There's a little change, though, as we look to the north, as there is actually some rain not too far away over parts of the Hoosier State. They're mostly north of Indianapolis. Now, most of that is going to fizzle before it gets to our area. It might clip a few spots, mainly to the northeast, perhaps around North Vernon, Indiana, maybe around Madison, Indiana, as we head into the afternoon, but most locations will be staying dry. So that's just, hey, a little bit of something showing up. But right now it's clear sky once again as we look live here at the corner of Vinson's and Market in uptown New Albany on this beautiful start to this Thursday, August the 28th. We are almost wrapping up the month of August here. We've got a few weather jokes for you. And we have, I'll just check in our live stream here and your comments in just a second. But we got the weather jokes. We got the weather history, the facts. We're going to dig deep into that forecast. We'll bring up some of the weather headlines right now. In fact, as we're looking at dry weather here through our Labor Day, one very small caveat to that is that super teeny tiny chance of a shower, mainly to the northeast today, up around Madison. And then a front will move through, mostly dry front tomorrow afternoon. Again, less than like a 5% chance of maybe a sprinkle tomorrow. Most locations stay dry. Almost don't even want to talk about it. It's such a small chance. And then rain chances will start to ramp up by the middle of next week. Now, the weather models will look at the long-range data. And when we do look at the long-range data, that means it's time for the good old Ben on a Limb segment. So that'll be coming up a little bit later. We dig into the weather models typically around 10:20. But again, getting a first glance at your forecast here. Or I'd say either side of maybe Wednesday now kind of looks like the time frame next week for an increasing chance of rain. That looks like a Canadian front. Behind that, we might have even cooler conditions than what we've had on the way. So even a more autumn-like feel late next week. So again, plenty to talk about with an overall below normal temperature regime across the area. We'll also take a look at the long-range outlook with the Climate Prediction Center. So again, we've got a lot on the plate today. Getting started here with us, we've got Beverly Haggis. Told you, first on board from Borden, Indiana. Orlean Whitlow, good morning. It's a beautiful day. Again, have a great day. Mike Sievert from Middletown, beautiful morning. Yes, I think we're all in agreement on that. Lillian Lasley, 65 right now. I think like an hour or two ago, Lillian commented on one of my posts. It was like 51 for the morning low out there in Grayson County. So, yeah, we had those upper 40s and lower 50s across the area once again here this morning, which is a phenomenal start across the area. And, again, talking about a little bit of that rain up to the north. And, again, that might clip a few areas up around North Vernon, maybe Madison today. But, again, most areas stay dry. Old stalled out front south. They've actually got flood warnings there in Arkansas. That's where the rain, the heavier rain is down to our southwest or Mississippi, Arkansas. Parts of Oklahoma, and eventually that mostly dry front will be moving into our area. All right, let me bring up some other weather resources here. We actually have an update with the extolmag.com/weather. We got our live stream up right now. There's your interactive radar, current conditions, 61. and the 7-day forecast that I posted here today. I've got a brand new big weather story that I just posted, which says keeping a cooler than normal weather pattern overall. So there is a sneak tease there of the sneak peek of the Climate Prediction Center's long range outlook. This is the new drought monitor. You can see yellow and tans. That means we're heading into abnormally dry conditions or level 1 drought across the area. So just want to mention that a lot of the maps that you see here, if I cruise over them too fast, I've got all the maps and the weather resources there on our weather story at extolmag.com/weather. That is extolmag.com/weather. So this is kind of part of the story here, as it has been too dry, pretty dry August here for us. So this is the latest drought monitor. It comes out every Thursday, and it takes a look across the United States where a drought is occurring, and we're starting to go into the yellow. So yellow is D0, not technically drought, but called abnormally dry. And then D1 is considered moderate drought. There are parts of Kentucky under that moderate drought. So something just to think about, get a little bit too dry. Maybe on a breezy day, if it's dry, just kind of watch out for that elevated fire danger as the forest floors and a lot of the fields are getting that dry tinder out there and drying out. And then whenever you want, you can always play around with the big interactive radar. Looks like a sprinkle near Bloomington, if that's actually touching the ground, but most of that rain again off over the northern half of Indiana right now. So you can always plot on the temperatures and the winds. It is nice and comfy out there in the 60s all throughout the region. So again, there lots of good stuff there. And again, we've got a big show here today with a lot of content here for you. Doug Hetty here. Good stuff. Keep at it. I'm going to keep at it. Thank you very much. Thanks for the encouragement. And Dennis Gregory from Bedford. Cloudy here, not complaining, still loving the temp. So yeah, up to the northwest ahead of that system, you're probably getting some of that, the clouds that we saw with the interactive radar right there. All right, I'm going to get out of the interactive radar. Hit the good old escape button. A quick look outside here with the Falls of the Ohio.org, the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org, and I mean, just gorgeous throughout the area. Nice, handy little camera there along the waterfront and the Falls of the Ohio and the fossil beds that kind of cruises and looks west and looks off to the east that you can check out anytime. Also has more information there about education and learn, the current river levels, and much more here at the Falls of the Ohio Foundation website. I want to give a shout out to our partners here before we get rolling deep into that forecast. And Lions Roofing, lionsroofingco.com. You get free estimates right there. You can call them for service here in Indiana or Kentucky, 812-294-3595. Really friendly folks, family owned, right out of Memphis, Indiana. And they've helped us out. And I actually had a conversation with Michael Long yesterday because we've got teenagers on our car insurance. And there's some interesting things that you can do. You might want to think about. Of course, you can get the good grade discount. There's also apps that, they're tracking how fast you're driving and everything like that. But if you drive safely, you can get some major discounts. You start at like 15% discount, then up to 25% discount possible. So there are ways to save in this day and age. And if you want to learn more, if you want to maybe get a quote, tell him I sent you. Ben sent you to 812-578-3072. This is Michael Long with American Family Insurance. Or you can just go to his landing page here at amfam.com, put in Michael Long, and then there you can get a quote just like that. There are also opportunities throughout Southern Indiana that we want to give you an update about here at Libs Paving, top asphalt contractor around. And you just go to the upper right-hand corner to careers, and that's where you can see all of the opportunities. So if you know someone, maybe a family member or a friend that needs work, needs an opportunity, needs perhaps a new full-on career, project manager, superintendent job openings, click learn more. And by the way, back to Lions Roofing, they still have this roofing repair technician job opening. You can go there and go to careers too. Of course, supplying the workforce for Southern Indiana, Ivy Tech, along with Prosser. Prosser is a high school program in connection with Ivy Tech. and you can get that dual credit that has helped out our family. Go to locations here at ivytech.edu, Sellersburg campus, beautiful campus right there, 9 miles north of Louisville. Very convenient there. They started their fall sessions on Monday. There's a second fall session that you can get registered for, but a lot of 2-year certification programs that can elevate you and your career, meeting you right where you are at. All right. Thanks to them. Thanks to you for being here. And thanks to that sunshine once again. So looking to the north, there is some cloud cover that Dennis Gregory was talking about in Bedford, Indiana. So we might have some of the cloud cover starting to drift to the south, out ahead of some of the rain that's moving into central Indiana. So as we look at this, there you can see for the first time in a long time, some rain not too far away. But a lot of this is going to be moving into drier air and more stable air over our region. So maybe we will see, up around Madison, North Vernon, maybe Scottsburg, get a little sprinkle there. But most locations will be staying dry for today. But just a little bit closer with a rain chance. Again, it's been days and days since we've seen any rainfall. I want to bring up the dew point map. So the dew point's showing that dry air is still in place. So that rain that's coming in from the northwest is running into, again, some really low dew points in the 50s. Anytime you have dew points in the 50s, it's going to be comfortable out there. You start to feel the humidity once the dew points get into the 60s, and then it gets really tropical once the dew points head into the 70s. So I don't see 70s dew points really anytime soon. We've got a good morning here from John Fox. Good morning, sir. And a good morning from Barbara Haas. No golf for Barbara today. I saw the comments, but hey, enjoy chilling maybe on the front porch or the back deck or wherever it may be, taking a walk around. And Perry Porter, good morning. Awesome morning. Great coffee. I had my cup of coffee. Now I've got, sorry, I'm bumping around the table here. My just the plain old water right now. I have to say you're spoiling us with this awesome weather. Despite the quiet weather pattern, as we get into the forecast, I still have plenty to talk about with some bigger changes next week. So stay tuned here. And Keith Hennessy, I know we need it, but I just washed the truck. You're probably in good shape here for at least through Labor Day, Keith, as I don't see an increasing rain chance till maybe next Tuesday. I would say Wednesday, Thursday is going to be our next good chance of some rain, more widespread rain across the area. So we are going to take a look at that right now. So let me go ahead and bring this up here, remove that, and pop this one up. And just a reminder, too, if you have any weather questions, feel free to send them to me, ben@extolmag.com. That's how we can stay connected. And if you have any advertising or sponsorships or marketing that you would like to hook up with us, with Extol Weather or Extol Media, give me a shout here, ben@extolmag.com. We got a lot of ways to show off your business or organization throughout Southern Indiana and beyond. You can also contact Jason for more information, jason@extolmag.com. So the weather headlines today, mostly dry through Monday. Rain chances increasing middle next week after Labor Day. And then a overall below normal temperature trend continues. We got the play ball forecast. My son is going to be at Lanesville playing tennis later today. So I'll be shooting over there with perfect weather, 75 at noon, 81 this afternoon. Still a good more than 5 degrees below normal, 72 at 8 p.m. So just about perfect. You can crack open the windows in the evening time. Northwest wind at around 5 to 10. Here's the stupid autumn dad jokes. They were summer jokes, but since it's feeling like autumn, we're going to do the autumn dad jokes. And I don't back these jokes, by the way. Like everybody has a different sense of humor. Some of these I do not laugh at, but sometimes they're better when they're worse. Sometimes I like how bad the jokes are. The cringier, the better sometimes. But why did the man bungee jump on the first day of autumn? Because he loved the fall. What did the jack-o'-lantern do when investigated? Spilled its guts. What did autumn say to summer? I'll always follow you. And I misspelled always there, so that's something I might do. Last one. Typically we do 3. But since they're so bad, we'll give you 4. What do you call the smallest apple on earth? An apple teeny. Kind of like a little, I guess, liquor joke there. Apple teeny. There you go. Martini, apple teeny. All right, that's it. We're moving on. How many days until the before 8 p.m. sunsets? We've been doing the countdown every day. 6 days. Autumn begins in 25. The days are rolling by fast. Average highs in the 70s in 27 days, less than a month. And average highs in the 60s in 52 days on October the 19th. In today's weather history, this is a crazy one. 1937, a devastating cyclone hit Hong Kong, killing 11,000 people. So you can see the difference here before weather technology and after. It does save thousands of lives. In 1990, Plainfield, Illinois was struck, that's just outside of Chicago, by an EF5 tornado, destroying several businesses in the Plainfield High School, an apartment complex. 8 people killed there. And that apartment complex, but a total of 29 fatalities. And then 2005, Hurricane Katrina attained Category 5 status. We all remember that, and reached its peak strength in maximum sustained winds of 173 miles per hour. And I remember I was working in Augusta, Georgia at that time, awaiting Hurricane Katrina down there in Louisiana. Allergy report today is high. It is ragweed. I feel like I'm feeling it a little bit. I mowed the yard. I mowed the weeds a bit yesterday. I need to do the fertilizer, but it's floating around out there. UV index around 7 or 8. If you get a little more cloud cover, it's going to be a bit lower. And then the forecast summary for today, 81 degrees. Terrific Thursday here for us. Mostly sunny sky. And again, we might see a few more clouds over Indiana, where we have that little disturbance moving through, where there is a slight chance of a brief shower, maybe up around North Vernon or Madison. Northwest wind around 5 to 10, and our sunset at 8:18. And for tonight, nice and cool. A few clouds passing through, low 60 degrees. So not quite as cool as it's been, but still, I think crack open the windows and let that AC get a break. Tomorrow, I put tiny shower chance tomorrow afternoon as this front moves through, mainly dry across the area. Like less than 5% chance of a shower tomorrow. 82 degrees, that high temperature. What that front is going to do just is reinforce the awesome autumn-like air for much of this weekend. Very low humidity, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Our average high is 87, so about 5 degrees below normal tomorrow. And 7:10 sun up, sunset at 8:16. And it just means good football weather for our Friday night. And also, I believe Racing Louisville has their match at Lynn Family Stadium versus the Houston Dash tomorrow evening at 7:30. Both are going to be great. Pre-game 81, 7 p.m. kickoff around 76, halftime 73, and then some 60s post-game. Loving it. The Bats are at home all this weekend versus the Columbus Clippers. No weather worries if you want to check out some baseball out at Slugger Field. Here's the 7-day forecast. Again, very, very isolated chance tomorrow. Most areas stay dry. Lows will be in the 50s all weekend. Great camping weather, but maybe the water temperature getting a little bit cool by the lakes and the pools this weekend. That might be kind of a little bit of a downside. 79 Saturday, right around 80 Sunday, 82 for Labor Day Monday. Looks great out there. We've got a good morning popping in here from Mike Perkins. Good morning, sir. Thanks for tuning in here. Long time no see, except here on Facebook. Tuesday, a 30% chance of a shower, maybe a little more humidity. You can see the humidity goes up a touch with slightly warmer nighttime temperatures by the middle of next week. So starting to increase the humidity a little bit. And then notice here, Wednesday, 70s as we have a rain chance. So right now, like the European weather model kind of switched and has the front move through Wednesday. No, I'll take it back. It did flip-flop. It was sooner yesterday. Now it's a little bit later. So the GFS has the front moving through like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we're much cooler, maybe like low mid-70s Thursday. And the European weather model is like a day later, like Thursday. So there is still some discrepancies there. We're still going to fine-tune that forecast. The moral of the story, as we'll see here as we go into the longer range data, is that the rain chances increase by the middle of next week. We will need that rain chance as this has been a very dry last half of August here, but it's been very nice as well. So it is now coming up to 10:20. That means it's time to start to dig into that weather model data. So let me go ahead and bring that up here for us. You take that out, bring this up, and so this is a look at the dew point map. You get more tropical down in Louisiana and into Texas, but very, very nice conditions. Actually gets a little bit more humid ahead of a front up in the upper Midwest as well, where you see dew points in the 60s. We still have this nice dry wedge of air over us with these dew points in the 50s all across the area. So again, just reinforcing that we have some great weather across the area. Now, as we bring up the Climate Prediction Center, this is kind of a pretty big weather story for us after just a really hot July. And a little bit hot for the first part of August as well. But this shows us that we have, from the Climate Prediction Center, with their 6 to 10 day outlook, high confidence of a long range below normal weather pattern. We might get a couple days mixed in there where we get into the 80s, but notice here from the Climate Prediction Center, they're looking at below normal temperatures. So that means we may see some 70s back in that forecast. So like late next week, and we'll have a little upper 70s for Saturday as well. But pretty nice there. I mean, that just means really comfortable as we start to head into September. Bringing up the 8 to 14 day outlook. So this would go a couple weeks out. And it also shows an above average chance of below normal temperatures over much of the mid and eastern portions of the United States. So that is a fairly big weather story here for us, and a nice one as well. If you're curious about the tropics, there is not a whole lot going on. There's this tropical storm out here as Fernand, and it is way out in the North Atlantic. No other invests or low pressure systems that we're watching in the Atlantic, and then some activity out here in the Pacific. Juliet, they're way off the coast of Baja California. So that is the tropical update right there. Let me go ahead and bring up our future radar. Again, super teeny tiny chance of a shower today, mainly to the northwest. I'm going to bring up the HRRR high resolution rapid refresh weather model. So starting off now, it does show some of that rain to the northeast. As we click this forward in time, I'm going to go here to like 1 o'clock. Notice that it has most of that rain moving off to our northeast. And it really doesn't even give a rain chance even to Madison. But that's just one weather model. This is at 5 o'clock. Notice it's trying to sneak in maybe a little sprinkle up that way. Better chance up towards Cincinnati, down Interstate 74 there between Cincinnati and Indianapolis. Let me bring up another weather model here. And we will go into tomorrow afternoon. So we're going to have that front move through tomorrow. And we might see like a little blip of green pop up here, indicating there's a very small chance of maybe like a sprinkle at some point as this front moves through Friday. But we're just not going to see much printing out on our future radar maps here. Yeah, this is at 3 o'clock tomorrow. 4 o'clock. All right, so I mean, if you can see what I'm talking about, I mean, you got to look real close to find anything. So maybe a sprinkle in a couple spots tomorrow, but there's not going to be much happening with this weak and mainly dry front. Now, this is the NAM 3 kilometer, another high resolution weather model. I'm going to click this back to today, just kind of compare and contrast. It's picking up a little bit of that rain to the northeast. Taking this into the afternoon here, it just shows a little bit of a blip there. So trying to produce a sprinkle, maybe out of a couple clouds, mostly to the northeast later today. I don't know if you can see that on whatever screen you're watching on, but there you can see how small that chance is. Just a couple little blips showing up. And it's fighting some dry air at the surface too. You might see Virga. I'm not sure if you guys know what that is, but Virga is, if you look up at the clouds will produce some precipitation. Sometimes it'll look kind of blue or purple, and then it fades away. That's rain evaporating before it hits the ground. And sometimes the radar beam goes up at an angle and can hit some of that rain, so it looks like it's raining on the radar. But as that gets closer, it starts to go away as the radar beam is lower to the ground, and so then there will be no rain. So sometimes you can pick up the virga on the radar at farther out distances, but as it gets closer, that rain evaporates as it hits the ground. So might see some virga out there, which is very pretty underneath the clouds and mixed with sunshine. So VIRGA is virga. Lillian Lasley, Grayson County Fair begins Tuesday. Yeah, this is your weather show throughout the region, so feel free to drop in whatever might be happening in your area. Sellersburg had Sellersburg Celebrates last weekend, and this weekend they've got some kind of like craft fair, I believe. But again, feel free to drop in the comments. Let us know what's happening in your neck of the woods. All right, we're back to the weather models. So again, moral of the story here is that there is very little. Don't bet on the rain happening at your house, because this is a very small, like less than 5% chance today, mainly to the northeast, and then tomorrow over the area as this dry front moves through. So now I'm going to tomorrow afternoon with the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. This is at 1 p.m. Go to 2 o'clock. Just very little to even try to look at. This has got, there you can see what I mean. So this is near Elizabethtown tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. Perhaps a cloud can be eager enough and big enough to produce an isolated shower. So this weather model shows the best chance of perhaps a sprinkle or shower, mainly along and south of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky parkways. There you can see that best chance along the front tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to bring up the dew points again. So behind this front, it's going to be dropping the dew points for the weekend. Dew points, a measure of water content in the air. Lower the dew point, the better it's going to feel. So look at this dry air dropping in. Even showing some 30s dew points. Like really just looking forward to sitting outside, chilling. I might actually do some camping in the cabin Saturday night with that kind of air on the way. It is kind of rare air this time of the year. It's up in Canada, and we're getting a nice little taste of it. But there you go. That is your Saturday air, which is looking phenomenal. This is 2 p.m. Saturday with the dew points very low across the area. This is look at 2 p.m. temperatures on Saturday. Lots of 70s, looking good, phenomenal across the area. Again, just really good stuff. I don't think I have enough adjectives to describe how nice it's going to be this weekend. Okay, so that is the future radar. Now we're going to go look long range with the GFS weather model. So that means it is time for the Ben on a Limb segment. So we're going to break out the big old GFS American weather model. I want to bring up first the precipitation, because we're going to need this rainfall next week. I'm going to jump ahead to the 1st of September, our Labor Day, and it shows dry conditions across the area. So it looks like we're dry Monday, lower 80s likely. I'm going to jump ahead to September 2nd. This is Tuesday, next Tuesday. So this is the difference. The Euro is still mostly dry, but notice that it brings a good rain chance and upper level system through the area Tuesday. The GFS is kind of the outlier right now. It does look drier on the European weather model and the Canadian weather model next Tuesday. But if the GFS were correct, there you can see ramping up those rain chances Tuesday. I think the rain chances will probably ramp up more Wednesday, Thursday, if I were to guess this far out. That's Tuesday night. But again, we will need that rain. We need it now by that time. This is going into Wednesday. You can see some rain still across the area with this kind of slow-moving system moving through the Ohio Valley and Kentuckiana. That is Wednesday afternoon. So this shows good rain chance Tuesday, Wednesday with the GFS weather model. The only difference is if you're looking at the Euro, the Canadian, just shift that to like Wednesday, Thursday, as it ramps up the rain chances like a day later. But what's significant behind this front, so this is next Thursday, looking dry, perhaps. Again, the Euro has some rain Thursday. But they both do show dropping temperatures, dropping dew points, dry air. I mean, look at that. That's incredible. That is Canada. Canadian air dropping down right behind that front. This would be probably a more significant shot than what we've seen lately of the autumn-like air across the region. So you've got dry air, no doubt about that. This is showing dew points in the 30s. This is something we probably haven't felt since maybe like early on May months. So next level cool down potential late next week. Here's a look at the temperatures. Look at that spilling down from the north. Some rather cool air. So this is at 5 p.m. September 4th. That's Thursday. If this were true, of course, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't think it's going to get that cool. Sometimes the GFS will overdo it, but that's showing 60s Thursday afternoon. I'd have to look back and see how long ago we had highs in the 60s. Are we going to see that? Big question marks there. We're going to, but this is something fun that we'll be watching with the long range outlook for late next week. Can we see a cool down that big? Big question marks there. I'm going to go into the 5th. So this will be next Friday afternoon. And it is also showing some rather cool temperatures across the region. So you might ask, where's the heat? That's building out west of us. That's where late next week over the Great Plains, where the heat might be building up, where summertime is. So there you go. As I promised here, right in the beginning of the show, there's plenty to talk about as always throughout the areas. We're coming up to 10:32. So then September 6th, that's Saturday. We're going to be going to an IU football game. And I'm hoping it will be dry out there. And it's showing 70s. I will take that if that can happen. All right. Trying to click them on there. So there you go. Boom. Reinforcing shot of Canadian air possible late next week. And the European weather model is on board for a cool down late next week as well. So it might be a next step of fall-like air. So we've been kind of like late September, early October, early fall here now. This perhaps, again, if this happens, next weekend might feel more like late October, like average highs down to 60s by October 19th. But last couple of weeks been a big shift in what was just a very, very muggy weather pattern. So it looks like we're kind of locking into more fall-like conditions across the area. And Vicky Berger popping in from Salem, Indiana. Good morning. It's beautiful weather, but can't handle too cool. Not enough rain, and the corn and beans don't fill out. Yeah, we need to get some next week, and hopefully that'll plump them up. Hopefully. Mary Smallwood, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for dropping in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from as well. So that is the long-range forecast. That has been the good old Ben on a Limb segment. So we will get back to the forecast. For those of you popping on a little bit later, we're going to dig deep into the forecast here for you and all the weather graphics here in just 1 second. I just wanted to take a peek. Let's go. I mean, this is probably not going to happen, but this is like September the 12th. And it still shows nice, cool conditions across the area. So hopefully that'll continue. And the big reason for that is the dive in the jet stream. The jet stream taking a northwest flow across the region. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. So look at this. Look at this. This is 2 weeks out. And this is the kind of weather pattern that we have right now, where you've got this dive in the jet stream coming in from the northwest. So that is the reason for the feel of a changing season, I would say. With the warm air out west, under the ridge, under a trough of the jet stream, you get cooler than normal conditions. So this is kind of the core of the jet. The strong winds aloft. That shows 86-mile-an-hour winds. Trough of the jet stream. There we go. That is the reason. All right, let's get back to the forecast here. Let me drop this off here. And we are cruising right along here on a Thursday, August the 28th. I'm gonna remove that and take another live look outside. Beautiful out there, right outside the Extol Media Studios here in Uptown, New Albany, Indiana. All right, so here's that forecast. If you're just popping on, mostly dry through Monday. We showed you with the high resolution weather models that there is like maybe a little bit of a sprinkle chance, mainly northeast today. Like less than a 5% chance of it tomorrow as a mostly dry front moves through Friday. It's going to give us great weekend weather for our Labor Day weekend. Rain chances starting to ramp up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, and then we continue with an overall below normal temperature trend. The play ball forecast, 75 at noon, 81 this afternoon. We'll be heading over to Lanesville to watch my son play some tennis later today. That's why I've got the good old tennis background there. Northwest wind 5 to 10. And for most of us, 0% chance of rain. These were the stupid autumn dad jokes, again, since it's feeling like autumn, that I shared a little bit earlier, too. So why did the man bungee jump on the first day of autumn? Because he loved the fall. Why did the jack-o'-lantern do? What did the jack-o'-lantern do when investigated? He spilled its guts. What did autumn say to summer? I'll always follow you. I did misspell always there. What do you call the smallest apple on earth? An apple teeny. Little martini joke there for you. All right, how many days until before the 8 p.m. sunsets are in 6 days away? Autumn begins in 25. This is our daily countdown. 27 days until highs are typically in the 70s. But again, we're in a below normal pattern now. We've had that already. Average highs in the 60s, about 52 days away. That is around October 19th. And this day in weather history, a devastating cyclone, which is a hurricane, on this side of the hemisphere, hit Hong Kong in 1937, killing 11,000 people. Just shows you the advance in weather technology and tracking is now saving thousands of lives. In 1990, Plainfield, Illinois, right outside of Chicago, had an F5, EF5. It used to be an F5 back then. Now it's called an EF5, Enhanced Fujita Scale. 29 people killed in that one. 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit Category 5 status, reaching its peak strength and maximum sustained winds of 173 miles per hour. I was working down in NBC, WAGT, in Augusta, Georgia at that time. Allergy report, high levels of ragweed. We are in the ragweed pollen season. The UV index at a 7. The forecast summary for today here for your August 28th, 81 degrees. Again, overall, terrific Thursday. It'll be a little cloudier over parts of southern Indiana, especially up towards Scottsburg, Seymour, North Vernon, and Madison. As we look at the forecast here for tonight, we can once again give the AC a bit of a break. And not quite as cool as our last couple of nights, but still looking pretty good here for us overall. And for tomorrow, we're looking at some nice weather for your Friday. If you notice, if your screen can see it, I just put tiny shower chance tomorrow on that 4 o'clock slate there. Most areas stay dry. 82 the afternoon high for your Friday. And then for tomorrow night, Friday night, high school football, pregame 81, kickoff 76. So in the 70s for most of the game. And then postgame upper 60s. Same forecast for Racing Louisville. They've got their match at Lynn Family Stadium at 7:30 versus the Houston Dash. Bats baseball is in town all weekend, too, at home versus the Columbus Clippers. So great weather for all of that, or whatever activities you might. And again, if you have some festivity or activity that might be happening in your county, in your town, feel free to drop it in the comments. Let us know what's happening. Who knows? We might pop out to one of those festivals at some point in time. as Lillian was saying, the Grayson County Fair starts Tuesday, she mentioned there. So that is your big forecast for today here at 10:39. We've had a couple more good mornings popping in from Tammy Morton. Good morning to you, and Vicki Robel. And Dorothy McDaniel, thanks for tuning in. Good morning to you. Thanks for all those good mornings here. And Steve Gibbons, like the weather history segment, I always find it interesting to look at the weather stats for the same day a year ago. Yeah, thanks to the Louisville National Weather Service and the Indianapolis National Weather Service office. They do those daily weather history pages. So thanks for enjoying that. All right, that is the forecast there. I'm going to bring the look at the radar here back up. Because for once, there is a little bit of rain popping up here just off to our north as we go full screen. But it looks like a lot of this is going to be evaporating before it moves into our area. As I mentioned earlier this afternoon, small chance maybe around North Vernon or Madison that might get clipped by that. But you're probably seeing more clouds up that way around Bedford and around Seymour. Not the case here, though. For most of us, it's that right there. Lots of sunshine across the area. So that's what we have on the radar and satellite right now. Most areas will stay dry. Once again, I want to give a shout out to our partners. We could be here because of them. And ivytech.edu, they are not only our partners, they're partners with pretty much everybody supplying the workforce in Southern Indiana and beyond. And they one of their partners is Prosser. That is a program for high schoolers that can graduate with their 2-year certificates, associates perhaps, and get a head start. So you can elevate your career. They'll meet you right where you're at. You might be in high school. You might be in your 30s or 40s and might want to level up, and you can do that right here. ivytech.edu. They're in their first fall session. They've got another fall session later that you can register for there. And speaking of careers, Libs Paving, libspaving.com. There's a lot of job openings here for you. Again, if you know somebody that needs some work, needs a career, you just find one of these jobs right here. Feel free to apply for several of them. And there you can see, apply for the job. Speaking of jobs, Lyons Roofing repair technician. You can apply there online, or you can give them a call, 812-294-3595. Lyons Roofing, family-owned, right out of Memphis, Indiana, covering Southern Indiana and Kentucky, 812-294-3595. If you have any roofing questions, you can fill out that form, or, again, just give them a call right there. And I gave my buddy Michael Long a call yesterday because I was talking about different ways to save on insurance. You got the student discount with good grades student discount, thanks to Hannah and Brady. And then also you can sign up for the app. So check that out too with American Family Insurance. That is a way you can make some big savings. If you want to quote, tell him I sent you, 812-578-3072. Or go to his landing page here at amfam.com and then search Michael Long. Send them a message, get a quote, and again, call 812-578-3072. And another live look out here. Oh, we got a train cruising across. Very cool. Cruising across the river. Our no complain train continues with this amazing weather, but there's a live look at the caboose at the very end of the train there. And here is another thing I want to show you before we wrap this up. It is our live stream at extolmag.com/weather. Technology is amazing. You can pick us up anywhere, Extol Media on YouTube. Like or subscribe to our YouTube channel right there. And if I bring that up, you're going to see just a ton of, if you go to the videos, we've got shorts. The shorts are those reels that I do every morning. You can get them here. There you can see my goofy face all over that. But again, head to youtube.com, Extol Media, and click on the subscribe right there. You got your current conditions, interactive radar, 7-day forecast, the big weather story that I posted this morning, your weather maps, the drought monitor, by the way, updated today, showing that our area, level 1 drought for parts of the area. The yellow in Southern Indiana and pretty much all of Kentucky shows that we are in abnormally dry conditions because, of course, of our recent dry weather pattern. And again, there's the big screen interactive radar just a little bit farther down. There you can see that rain up there in northern Indiana and into Ohio. Most of that is going to bypass our area to the northeast. But maybe a few lucky folks will get a sprinkle or two to the northeast. And that is going to do it. Oh, Lillian Lousy says, sorry about the fair going on right now. There you go, in Grayson County. A lot of county fairs still going on out there. All right, we'll wrap it up here at 10:45. We typically do about 45 minutes. We're right on time here. So the interesting thing for tomorrow, for our Friday edition of Ben at 10, happy Labor Day weekend, by the way, is that timing next week. We're going to try to fine-tune that. We're going to see if the European weather model and the GFS weather model can come to agreement, see some congruency there, and then we'll start to ramp up that rain chance. Looks like kind of a Wednesday, Thursday thing right now. And then behind that, perhaps some of the coolest air we've seen in months and months. So again, always something fun to talk about. We'll try to get you some more weather jokes, weather history as well. Always trying to keep it interesting here for you on Ben at 10, Monday through Friday. You found us right here, maybe on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Extol Weather on Facebook, extolmag.com/weather, and Extol Media on YouTube. All right, enjoy the amazing weather out there today, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.